Action. So, should kids strength train?
Yes.
What
That's it.
about dude? We're done. Okay, so we get a lot of parents reach out like, "Hey, I'm interested in my kid. He's got a knee valgus, or he runs funny, or she runs funny, or they're uncoordinated, that kind of thing." So we just want to do a quick kind of explanation that we can send out to people to help you think about how to help your kid become more athletic, how to train, when to train, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate. There's a common myth that strength training is bad for growth plates. That's wrong, and when you kind of start to dig into it and look at it, it's just stupid. It doesn't
Mhm.
like the position doesn't make any sense. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Um, you hear about stunted growth. That's not true. Stunted growth comes from malnutrition, not strength training. So that's something we can touch on real quick. And then Alex has put together some research because he is a doctor. Alex, talk to us. What do we got?
Yeah, so like you said, I get this question all the time from people, like how old do my kids need to be before they can start strength training? I'm worried about the growth, worried about injury, and a lot of that is just old fallacies from research decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was digging through some of the papers the last couple of days, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, the UK S&C Association, and the American Association for Pediatrics all recommend resistance training for youth and children. And it's worth mentioning that resistance training doesn't only mean like barbells on backs.
Correct.
Resistance training can be body weight, it can be using boxes, it can be using bands, medicine balls. There are all kinds of options out there. So when we mention resistance training or strength training, we're not only talking about what you would expect to see in a gym.
Correct. And my position, we don't need kids to be in fifth grade to be in the gym 4 days a week lifting. If they want to do that, that's fine. Most fifth graders don't. The best way for a fifth grader to become more athletic is
To
softball.
play sports.
Lots of
Yes.
sports. The worst thing you can do for your kid if you want to be a good athlete and you want them to have collegiate potential or just well rounded or not be broken is to play multiple sports. Specializing in high school is arguably dumb. Most of the greatest athletes that you see could have gone professional in the NBA. They could go professional NFL. They could go professional MLB. Like just pick the sport. They're good athletes and they played many sports throughout their youth career. So do I would recommend don't specialize. Specializing your kid is super dumb. My kid's gonna be what we see here a lot is we're picking one sport and my kid's gonna be really good at that sport. So we're doing that sport in high school. We're doing that sport as a travel team, and then in the summer we're going to showcases and all this travel. And with all the travel and the showcases and all that, you're not actually playing sports very often.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do, you're with a team that you don't know, so there's not good team cohesion. It's just it doesn't make that much sense. It does make sense to do that kind of later in your
Mm-hmm.
high school career when you need scholarships and stuff. But to do it as a seventh grader, you could help your athlete become better at their sport by making sure they're doing more sports.
Yeah,
I think
correct.
that's
I mean,
important.
at that age when kids are developing, it's all about just building movement competency,
Yep.
building body awareness and control. And resistance training is a big piece of that to help support everything they're doing outside and having fun.
Correct. And so we are a gym. We sell training. So let's talk about that a little bit. When we're working with a youth athlete, so fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, we get parents that reach out like, my kid's got a knee valgus, or my kid runs goofy, or my kid's super uncoordinated. What can we do in here that's useful to support that kid playing athletics?
Yeah, so there's a really long-winded explanation to this, but the take-home points are that resistance training does a lot for them just from a physical standpoint. It's going to help improve body composition. So obviously, as they're trying to build coordination, if there's less fat mass or anything like that, then they're going to move more efficiently and have less risk of injury. It's going to help build coordination, especially as segments are growing. So if you're growing 6 inches in a year, your limb lengths are totally different. It's hard to build awareness around that. That's how people really start to develop like goofy movement patterns.
Yep.
So if you're consistently helping them train and recruit tissue through a full range of motion, they start to learn those segments a lot faster than if they weren't training.
Yep.
They're going to be stronger pound for pound, so it takes less relative effort for the skills they're trying to learn. And hopefully we can help them have fun doing something outside of that repetitive action of whatever sport they're playing in the season.
Correct. Nailed it. And you don't PT your way through poor movement. You train, you learn how to move, and then you load that move. You either load it with some sort of resistance, some sort of speed, different tasks to do with inside of some constraints to keep the movement good.
Mm-hmm.
The mistake I see often is I can't start training. My knee goes in when I squat, so I need to do PT to fix that. That won't fix it. You have to train through that, and training with a good coach, no matter who it is, they can help you accomplish that goal.
Correct.
For if your kid at any age says, "Hey, I want to get into the gym," is there too young where you should say, we probably shouldn't do that?
To be honest with you, I've had kids as young as 5 or 6 years old, and those training sessions look like PVC pipes, teaching them how to walk with a pipe straight overhead, how to start to do a squat with a pipe on their back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very basic movement patterns. But to me, really the cutoff is they can begin training as soon as they can focus long enough to comprehend instruction,
Yep.
because it's not going to become recess in a gym. There's too much other stuff going on around here. So as long as your child is able to listen to feedback and kind of practice a skill, they can get something out of training. It might be as simple as building them an obstacle course that teaches them how to jump, how to lunge, and how to tuck and roll.
Yep. 100%. So I would encourage you, if your athlete, your student athlete, your child asks you, "Hey, I'm interested in the gym," go for it. What I would not do is send a group of fifth graders to a big community gym because they're going to end up doing kind of goofy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if they're dudes, they're going to do dumb stuff. How heavy can you bench? How heavy can you deadlift? How heavy can you squat? And it's going to look atrocious. So getting a young athlete to lift poorly, that is what creates injury. That's what creates problems. If my youth athlete wants to start training, I'm going to make sure there's some sort of structure. That doesn't mean it's not fun. That doesn't mean it's like a military style approach. It's still fun, but there's eyes on it, and educating. This is what good training for athletics looks like versus this is what ego lifting looks like. This is what powerlifting looks like.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference in athletic development and powerlifting and bodybuilding. And the younger we can teach kids about that, the easier it is to get them to train well so that they're setting themselves up for a good athletic career.
Correct.
Sick. I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Anything else? Closing remarks?
No, I think we covered it. Just as a reminder and take home point, strength training will not stunt your growth.
Yep.
It's not going to cause injury. The rates of injury within resistance training are substantially lower than those that happen out playing athletics.
Yep.
And as soon as your child is able to focus, listen, and enjoy the gym, they can begin if it's a well written program from a qualified coach.
That was beautiful. Crushed it.